Well, happy February, everyone. Thought I'd jump on here and take a quick video, show you some progress. I love red. You can't beat CP Action Red. Well, I'm kind of partial to those guys too. But anyways, thought I'd jump on. Got the Welcox yard pretty much wired up, just working the bugs out, and thought I'd do some switching, throw some cars on, and yeah, just kind of see how everything's running. Looks like we got a nice port turn built here, and probably the power will be 3101 and 3109, and yeah, 8204 is over here working the yard. Looks like the crew's getting ready to pull the barge with the idler cars. So yeah, anyways, yeah, I had a little issue with you shouldn't wire when you're tired. I wired up the yard, and these last few wires I had them backwards, so I spent all day yesterday, Saturday, undoing all the wiring from the bus underneath like that with all those suitcase connectors. Undid every single one of them and started troubleshooting to see where it might have been, and those ones were the culprits. So yeah, anyways, there's a good view of the staging yard down below. I'm gonna see about ordering the lift, which is gonna go into that corner here maybe later next month and get that going, and then I can kind of finalize the tracks into the barge slip. Won't be quite like I said before, won't be quite as close to that. It'll be 4 tracks going on to the lift here, which then will line up with the 4 tracks down below, which will ultimately fill this nice big staging yard. Anyways, you guys know about that if you've been following along. Yeah, so some of the progress, like I said, now I'm just kind of adding tacks in to see where there's spots that need attention. Some of the feeders didn't quite attach. Like I have some old track that I had in here from my last layout, Algoma Central, that I tried to clean off as best I could before I started soldering. But yeah, anyways, these things happen. So run it now before, get all the bugs worked out. But yeah, it's going to be fun to switch and build trains and pull trains out of the barge and all that sort of stuff. In the meantime, I did pick up these beauties, 6133 and 6134. Love it. Absolutely love these. I am needing 2 RDC2s, which I'll make 6213 and 6207, which were the other bud cars that ran on the island. I may try and look for 6130, the farm rail bud car that ran here for a bit, just for giggles. But yeah, anyways, I'm gonna build up my fleet of Action Red. Hey, Rapido, if you're watching, GP38ACs, 3000 to 3015 for me. Yeah, that would do. Anyways, yeah, been pretty fun. So one of the other things I did, I noticed that when I built this part of the layout, that this was quite wobbly. One of the things I didn't do, I did kind of just one support down the middle. So this one here, I did just the one. On the other day, I added one on either side, about 4 inches from center, and you can really not tell. I didn't lose that much real estate, and you could get laid up there if you wanted. It's pretty sturdy. Anyways, so yeah, I laid down the Donnacona or the Homosoap board. I laid out if you're following along on my Facebook page, I posted some pictures of the Port Alberni mill that'll be on this section of the layout and kind of where things are going to go. Kind of in between projects right now. So, and I'm waiting for some more plywood so I can finish between Welcox and Parksville. down here and connect the helix. So, we'll see this week. I may start laying track for the mill and, kind of start going from there. We'll see how the week goes. Um, the other things I got to do is tape and sand the joints. The board, I've left this part open for big Qualicum River trestle on this side and little Qualicum River trestle on this side. I may modify the L girders so I can drop them down a bit so I can get bigger, because those trestles were, the little Qualicum trestle was quite high. The big Qualicum trestle maybe half as high, maybe 50, 60 feet high, where the little Qualicum trestle was over 100 feet high. So I'd like to get it close. It's easy to do. I'll just modify and cut out the L girder, drop it down, put in a couple of legs, whatever I'm going to do, and get it supported. So yeah, it's kind of a lot of behind the scenes work going on now. I may fill in because most of the backdrop's pretty much done now here. I may sand these down, kind of clean them up while there's not a lot of track in here. There's a beautiful Courtney turn, 3007, probably 5008, and judging by that, maybe 3004, with a typical Courtney turn of boxcar, some pole cars, propane car, and a van. So 3 units. Are probably didn't want to unhook them because that's what they used on the port turn, and that's what they had, so that's what they ran. Anyways, yeah, so 8204 here and 3004 pulling the Bud car, got a Qualicum, and as you guys been following along, Qualicum will be right here, and 5019 coming along at a Qualicum. I rode 5019 once or twice here, and that's when they're doing all the tie replacements and they're reballasting the line. So yeah, Qualicum will be about here. So yeah, kind of getting excited. Didn't get a chance to get some plywood this weekend, but I would really like to connect the helix to the rest of the layout, which is down there, but it requires me getting some plywood. But I'm on call this week for 7 days, so I'm kind of stuck here, and it would look pretty silly if I went in my work fire truck and actually picked up lumber. Not so smart. But anyways, yeah, she's coming along, and I think once I connect, I'm touring, once I connect here to Parksville and the port sub and the Courtney sub here, I'm not sure if I'm going to keep going up top or if I'm going to do the Victoria sub and keep going this way. We'll see. I'm kind of excited to get the port sub going because it is the port sub and it's pretty fun. So, but yeah, there you go. And like I said, kept a lot all my switches off my last layout, so I should be okay for switches on this layout. I will, however, need to buy a much more flex track coming up here fairly quick as well. But yeah, give you a good overview of the room. And if anybody's been to Port Alberni, this is kind of the end of the line here. Train station somewhere over here, and then I may do the loadout for the pulp mill, or not the pulp mill, but the sawmill that was there. We'll see when I get down this far. It was quite a ways past the train station where I assume they loaded that sort of stuff, but I got lots of real estate here, and really it's just going to be a single track to the train station. So I got room, I might as well use it. But yeah, it's been fun. I'm super happy with how things are turning out. Been lots of support, lots of good comments from everybody. Some lots of guys offering, different paperwork. I got some really great old paperwork off of a fella in Courtney who was able to give me a bunch of E&N type stuff, and yeah, I got some other type of stuff. I think I may end up doing is pulling this stuff out eventually and putting a desk in here, because I would like to do the same sort of paperwork that the E&N had, in between 88 and 91. ish, that I could actually do clearances, GBOs, and train lineups, switch lists, and yard lists, that sort of thing. So when I do an operating session, I can actually give you a switch list and your power, and you can build whatever train you're building. So it would be a good kind of spot to have it there. But yeah, that's about it. That's kind of hanging around here. Figured I'd pop on quick and show you guys what's going on, and hope you've been enjoying following along. No fancy camera work, no crazy intros, just trains and me talking. So enjoy, and yeah, take care. Try and do another update as I get more done. And hope you like it. Comment, subscribe, and if you haven't found my Facebook page, it's Esquimalt Nanaimo Railway by myself, Nick Akamadi. Take care.